Illuminating Dholpur ChandraJyoti Abhiyan and the Rebirth of Democracy from Kitab ka Pehla Panna. Once synonymous with dacoity and lawlessness, Dholpur in Rajasthan is quietly scripting a new chapter in its story that is defined not by fear, but by hope, learning, and the awakening of constitutional values. At the heart of this transformation is the ChandraJyoti Abhiyan, a flagship initiative led by Avahad Nivrati Somnath, CEO of Zilla Parishad Dholpur, that is redefining the role of education, citizenship, and community participation in this historically troubled region. Every school textbook in India starts with the preamble to the Constitution's Kitab ka Pehla Panna. Yet, as Nivrati keenly observed, this page is often hurried past in the rush to complete the syllabus. Teachers, burdened by curriculum targets, and students, anxious about exams, tend to overlook this foundational text. But in a nation as diverse and dynamic as India, that first page encapsulates the soul of our democracy. Recognizing this missed opportunity, the ChandraJyoti Abhiyan was born. If we can bring the preamble out of obscurity, Nivrati explains, we can bring the Constitution to life in young minds. And so began a journey that would transform the educational landscape of Dholpur. The Abhiyan spread its wings to 350 schools, impacting over 50,000 students from classes 5 to 11. Through Bail Sansad Youth Parliament sessions, children from communities historically marred by conflict engaged directly with the principles of democracy, governance, and civic responsibility. They debated, enacted, and questioned. Primary school children began reciting the preamble during morning assemblies, articulating ideals like justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity with a clarity that belied their age. Teachers, too, were empowered. Over 200 educators, especially political science teachers, received training aligned with the National Education Policy NEP 2020, enabling them to make constitutional principles a living part of classroom discussions. Debates, quizzes, role plays, and poster-making competitions enriched the learning experience, fostering critical thinking and civic engagement. The ChandraJyoti Abhiyan did not stop at the school gates. It reached into the heart of communities through Gram Sabhas and child-friendly panchayat meetings, enabling students to witness and participate in grassroots democracy. Republic Day and Constitution Day were celebrated not just as ceremonial events, but as occasions to reflect on civic duties and constitutional ideals. A particularly innovative feature was the Constitution on the Wall project, vibrant murals depicting constitutional articles on the walls of the Zilla Parishad office. Guided tours by Somnath himself demystified complex constitutional provisions, making them accessible to even the youngest learners. The movement culminated in a district-level competition on April 27, 2025, with 15 schools and over 150 students showcasing their knowledge. The winners were felicitated, and a ChandraJyoti Abhiyan booklet was released, capturing the journey and voices of those touched by this silent revolution. Building on this momentum, Nivrati envisioned a new chapter, the Savidan Gar project. In a candid interview, he shared, "During my field visits, I observed many unused government buildings once functional, now lying idle. I asked myself, why not reimagine these spaces as vibrant centers of knowledge and civic awareness?" That's how Savidan Gar was born, turning forgotten infrastructure into living platforms for constitutional learning and community empowerment. Dholpur has identified 28 unused government buildings across 28 gram panchayats. These are being renovated into community libraries, spaces where civil services aspirants, avid readers, and community members can access newspapers, books on law and governance, and educational materials. But at their core, every Savidan Gar will focus on the Indian Constitution, reinforcing citizenship, democracy, and participation. Nivrati's vision is not limited to physical renovation. "My vision," he says, "is to develop not just readers, but citizens, thoughtful, informed, and empowered individuals." To ensure sustainability, village-level community groups are being formed to manage these spaces, embedding a sense of ownership and pride. What makes ChandraJyoti so effective is its foundation in 5 strategic pillars: a framework that ensures the campaign is participatory, grounded, and scalable one. Community-led and ownership-driven through extensive stakeholder consultations, local champions from education and Panchayati Raj institutions shaped the campaign's goals. An inclusive steering committee, with active representation from pre and teachers, ensures grassroots ownership and accountability. 2. Behavioral change through the 5 approach at the heart of ChandraJyoti is a structured journey from awareness to action. 3. Spaces of civic learning. The campaign created multiple learning spaces for culture of constitutional citizenship. Dholpur is emerging as a model where democratic values are not just taught but lived daily. The 5 framework and civic ecosystem model are now templates for replication in other districts, nurturing a culture of empathy, ethics, and participation. 5 resilient institutions, informed citizens. The Abhiyan strengthens trust between government and citizens, especially among youth. Public institutions are better equipped to foster critical thinking and civic values at scale. ChandraJyoti is not just a district program, it's a proof of concept for civic renewal. Transferable framework. The 5 approach can be adapted to any thematic area or geography. Departmental convergence. Education, Panchayati Raj, and administration working hand in hand. Productization. Replicable playbook, dashboards, and materials make scale feasible. Through ChandraJyoti, Nivriti says with conviction, Dholpur won't just teach the constitution, it will live it. Yet, this journey is not without challenges. A persistent lack of ownership in government buildings often leads to neglect and decay. Teachers, burdened by administrative work, sometimes fail to act as role models for civic engagement. Education, while imparting knowledge, often falls short of equipping the next generation with the skills and values needed to thrive in a democracy. Nivriti is candid about these realities. We need to reimagine the role of teachers as torchbearers of democracy, not just syllabus finishers, he notes. He emphasizes bridging the digital divide. A key element of the Savidangar model is its integration with the digital Samvidangar platform, which will bring e-resources, e-libraries, and interactive modules to rural students. This is not just about buildings, he insists. It's about building citizens digitally empowered, constitutionally aware, and community-focused. As Dholpur's children recite the preamble and communities gather in constitution-themed libraries, one is reminded of Nivriti's closing reflection: in today's world, especially in rural India, access to credible information and learning spaces is still limited. If Savidangar can bridge that gap, even in a small way, then I believe we are sowing the seeds for a stronger, more participatory democracy. It's about building the citizen of tomorrow starting today. Swipe left for next video. The ChandraJyoti, Abhiyan and Savidangar are more than projects. They are powerful reminders that the strength of a democracy lies not just in its grand institutions but in every child who recites the preamble, every teacher who inspires critical thought, and every community that reclaims a neglected building as a home for learning and citizenship. In Dholpur, the first page is no longer just a page. It is a call to action, a promise that democracy begins wherever citizens choose to live it. And in this corner of Rajasthan, that promise is being fulfilled, one recitation, one classroom, and one community at a time. Latest blogs.